Hey guys, Mr. SLIN here with another video about competitive Team Fortress 2. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more in the future. Alright, so what I want to do is start off by kind of giving you an example use case. Give you an example scenario of when you would see this happening. So I'm rolling through the first mid-fight here in this Grand Finals in kind of an accelerated fashion here to show you what this could look like. So imagine your team just shows up in middle, you're duking it out, seeing who's going to win the fight. Eric picks up a kill, bot mode picks up a kill, and you guys are just winning this round and rolling this on through here. So here's the example use case at a very high level. I'm just going to give you like a really basic version of the play so you can understand what you should be going for. So the play right here is even Ubers. I mean, sure, Shade has a 15% advantage, but let's call it even Ubers. And I'm going to be pushing 6 on 2 into yard. So what's the objective? You're going to want to shove lower and make sure that Shade is nowhere near getting forced by the enemy players. In this case, it's only Badonsky and Nursey. So as long as Shade doesn't get forced here, your objective is to get players in deep and try and force Nursey first. Shade will never use Uber in this situation. So I'm going to play it through here for you in real time. And as you can see, Shade is starting to spam the battlements to make sure Nursey can't get out of here in time. At this point, Nursey's totally screwed. She's going to get her Uber forced on battlements, and she has no choice but to back up to last and wait for respawners here. Shade has captured second point, never even used Uber, and now they have full Uber advantage pushing last. And from this point, it should be very easy for you or your team to just roll into last with full Uber advantage. I'm just going to show you what this looks like so you can see kind of general idea how this would work. But you take this full Uber advantage, shove it down the right side, take out the sentry gun, get on cap, and that's going to be an easy round for your team. Today, I want to discuss a demo that I was watching the other day of the Grand Finals for ESEA Season 25, Froyotech versus Ascent, a classic matchup there. And I was really drilling down to understand how Shade pushes Snakewater 4th point with Uber, even Ubers, but number advantage. So this is a situation you'll run into very often when you're playing competitively. Let's say both medics on both teams have Uber, but I have 6 players alive and you only have 5 players alive. How should I push the next point? And I'm going to start today by showing you a drawing, kind of give you the high-level theory of it, and then I'm going to kind of drill down and show you the demo and break down the actual gameplay itself. So let's start with the MS Paint drawings, as you guys know and love. So imagine, so this is the real bit right here. This is the choke point. So imagine this is lower. I'm going to put this lower here. So imagine how I'm pushing lower. Now, when I'm pushing from mid to lower, a lot of teams will be holding really far back. So if you can imagine this as battlements, right? There's like a bridge that comes out here. This is what's called the lobby. And this is the battlements that comes out here. There's like a ramp that gets towards the point. A lot of teams will be holding right here. And the reason they're holding back here is to get as far away from the lower doorway as possible. They want the most distance between these two areas in order to spam the enemy combo, to kite that Uber away. And so when it's both teams having Uber, a lot of lower level teams, a lot of teams with a different game style, a different strategy, will attempt to like brute force in. They'll shove the yard as quickly as they can, try and get up to that battlements, get up there as quickly as possible, force the enemy medic, and then use their numbers to win the remaining 6 on 5 fight after the Ubers have disappeared. And one thing I've noticed from watching a lot of Froyotech is that's just not their game style. That's just not their strategy. That's not their game plan at all. Their entire strategy revolves around using this 6 versus 5 number advantage to force the enemy medic first. In this case, the enemy medic being Nursey. They're going to try and force Nursey with Shade being nowhere near getting forced. And so example how you can make that happen is you start pushing lower doorway, but imagine there's another doorway over here. We'll call this doorway Saw. And what's going to happen is you're going to have players coming in through lower, you're going to have players coming in through Saw, and you're trying to exert as much pressure onto Nursey as possible, but Shade, he's not anywhere near there. Like he'll be like over here. He'll be like on the right side pushing yard. He'll be maybe like over here by the health pack. he just does not put his body anywhere near Nursey, because what he doesn't want to happen is, and what's very likely to happen is, a roaming soldier that's hiding here on the bridge by the train. There's like a wall that divides here. There's like a roaming soldier that'll hide here next to Saw. There's roaming soldiers that'll hide over here by Cheese. There's roaming soldiers that will hide over by the shack. What Shade doesn't want to happen is to have this soldier bomb him and force him early in this choke point. He doesn't want to get forced there. He wants to pop his Uber as close to this choke point at the bridge leading into lobby, or at this choke point leading from the battlements into lobby as possible. He wants to take that Uber into last and use those Uber advantages to win the round. And oftentimes what you'll see, especially in a grand final situation, is a 6-on-5 push from these two doorways, lower and Saw, and maybe even window. And sometimes Blaze will just jump right at Nursey. Blaze will die, and then Shade's so uncommitted. He's all the way out. He just backs up to middle and resets 5-on-5. So I want to roll you guys through some of the demos and how that works here, but I would like to challenge you guys when you're playing to be more like Shade, to be more like Froyotech, and try this style here where you start pushing lower, you have your teammates create space in front of you, get that force onto Nursey, and then you pop a better Uber. Let's hop into the footage now and I can show you what I mean. Okay, so this should be a better example of what you should do in the same situation, but this time the defending team has a couple more players alive and you have a couple players dead. So this is the same situation I just showed you, except for instead of it being 6 versus 2, you're now pushing 4 versus 3. Now you got to remember that some players need to stand on middle and capture it. So if you were to just shove your entire team forward, if you were Froyotech and shove into Nursey right now, it would only be a 3-on-3, right? Because Eric or Banny, one of those players, has to stand on middle and capture the point. So you don't really want to go right now. You're going to want to capture this point together, get in position, and then start moving forward and get ready for that force onto Nursey. And what you're going to see right here is it doesn't really matter which door you go through. You can go through lower or you can go through Saw. But Shade is going to play completely out. You do not want to get forced by Yomps, Corsa, or Brodonsky. How can you possibly get forced by Yomps, Corsa, or Brodonsky? Well, easy. There could be a sticky trap somewhere. There could be some pipe spam flying in. There could be a sniper. There could be a spy. And that's about the full list of options of how they could potentially force you. And then Nursey could throw a crossbow. That's literally the entire list right there. So as long as Shade looks out for those things that I just called out, there's no way he can get forced here. Now, how can Nursey get forced here? Nursey is playing back on the battlements like we discussed. Her objective is to stall the second point as long as possible. She's down in players, right? They have less players alive than Froyotech, and they need to try and defend the second point, hopefully with a good Uber, hopefully in good position. But what's more than likely going to happen is if bot mode jumps at Nursey right now and forces her Uber, she's going to be so far away from Shade because Shade is playing totally out, right? So if she pops Uber back on battlements, there's no way she can get to Shade in time to force him. So she knows this ahead of time. She's going to be trying to milk her Uber as much as possible and maybe just have to back out of 2 altogether. So you can see Shade throwing his crossbows back at Nursey, throwing a lot of ammunition towards the second point here with his team to try and pepper for that force. Now I'm going to show you at a high level here. Here comes bot mode for that force before. So what you're seeing here, what I'm trying to illustrate for you, is that even though it was 4-on-3 after Froyotech won middle, they didn't say, oh, we have a 1-man advantage. Let's just shove it in a second and try and exchange the Ubers. No, because what if Shade pops his Uber first and early and in bad position? That could give Ascent a potential opportunity to re-push back into middle. Instead, Froyotech goes for the classic Froyotech gameplay here. They're just going to go for a classic 1-man sacrifice while bot mode jumps onto Nursey, tries to force her there, but no one else from Froyotech is even helping out here and doesn't get the force. But that's like the worst case scenario, right? They sacrifice bot mode in, nothing else happens. That's totally fine. Let's go to demo number 3. All right, welcome to the third and final thing you need to see here. So in this situation that I'm just showing to you, a miracle happens for Froyotech. They peek Saw, Brodonsky gets caught out and goes down, and now Ascent is in massive trouble right now. They have no demo man for 18 seconds. So What is the play here for Froyotech? As I've discussed and broken down earlier in this demo, the play is not for Froyotech to go exchange the Ubers. A lot of teams here would make the play call to go exchange the Ubers, get them out of the way, and then win the remaining fight 6 versus 5, knowing that Ascent has no demo mana alive to defend second point. I'm not saying that's not a viable strategy. I'm just saying that the way that Froyotech plays this is very different from that style, and I think it's actually more effective. What they're going to be doing here is push to try and force Nursey without popping their own Uber. Again, Shade can play left side in the saw or right side in lower. He does not want to pop his Uber. He's just going to push with his team to try and force Nursey here. Already 5 seconds are ticked off the clock while Badonsky's dead, and Froyotech is not in a rush. It's been 8 seconds since Badonsky died, and nothing has happened yet because Froyotech have plenty of time to work with here. They know they have time is on their side. So they're going to rotate their heels towards lower and begin pressuring the battlements. And this is the diagram that I showed for you earlier. Now look at Nursey's positioning. Nursey is playing up on the train right here. And the reason she's playing up on the train is because she knows that there's no way Badonsky's going to be able to spawn, get back to battlements, and defend second point in time for the upcoming fight that Froyotech is going to take to them. So what she's hoping for is to take her pocket soldier in and go for a good solo Uber exchange. A solo Uber exchange here lasts 8 seconds, and 8 seconds is enough time for Badonsky to spawn and maybe get up to battlements, maybe take a crossbow and take a 6-on-6 fight. That's the best that Ascent could hope for in this scenario. So Froyotech, knowing this, is not going to give Nursey that fight. Nursey wants that even Uber exchange. Shade knows this. He's going to play out as much as possible. And instead, Froyotech are going to use their 6-on-5 numbers to force Nursey while she's playing up here on the train. So back onto Shade's POV. You're going to watch it in slow motion here. They're going to bomb Blaze in on the left side here and start throwing rockets at Nursey. Shade is inching his way towards the right side. Rando goes down. Now, the reason why Rando goes down here is kind of unfortunate, but you got to remember, it's 6-on-5. There's a lot of damage coming in off the left side there, and Nursey wants that really good solo Uber. So she actually drops Rando here and says, and look how hurt Mela is too. She's going to say, nuh-uh, I'm not popping the Uber just yet because I'm really hoping to get a good Uber on the Shade. But with Mela going down so low and Eric putting so much pressure, I think Eric's going to be able to force his Uber here. That's exactly what happens. So Eric goes down, getting that force. So even though Eric goes down, it's still 5-on-5, and guess who is under no pressure at all? It's Shade. He's got nobody shooting at him. He's going to have a really, really good Uber here. Now, thinking back to our first example, Nursey has 2 options. Knowing that she's in a bad scenario, she can back up to last and wait for respawners, or she can try and force Shade here on second point. But if she tries and her team tries to go for that force on Shade, they got to make sure they don't lose too many numbers here. But Shade is inching forward, and look how close he's getting to those 2 doorways that I talked about earlier, that upper bridge doorway and that battlements doorway, positioning himself to take that Uber directly into last. And look at Banny's positioning. While Nursey turns around, she realizes, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. Corsa is right there next to her with the movement speed buff that Nursey needs to try and make it out to last. But Banny smells blood in the water. That Uber gets popped probably a little bit early. I don't think the Uber needed to be popped there. Banny was at such high health. They probably could have killed Yomps without popping. So I would call this a bit of a mistake by Shade. But still, think about the scenario that we're witnessing here. Even though Badonsky died maybe 20 seconds ago, the way that Froyotech chose to take this in was make sure that Nursey pops her Uber first, and they're going to end up with an Uber that is 8 seconds better than whatever Nursey could come up with in this moment. Because now Banny's going to charge down the left side. Course is in a lot of trouble. He goes down, and look at the scenario here at the top of my screen. You've got a 5 versus 3 getting ready to push last point here, and if Badonsky isn't careful, he's going to go down here because Banny's looking to flank him from behind. So that's just the power of this playstyle, is you're not really looking to exchange the Ubers right away. You're instead looking to maneuver yourself into a position where you can exert pressure on Nursey without popping your own Uber first. And I think that this style will catch on in the future. It's actually very, very strong. So again, if you guys like this video, I'm happy to break down more plays for you in the future. That's what I'm here for. I want to break down these complicated plays so that you guys can understand them and maybe execute them in your own 6v6 competitive games. So if you do like the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.